bia obegyina kwa ho asrasrade no ono ankasa hyede dem a otimi repair mobile phone ni ma bebre na bibi na aka osu kire se ohia moa
yebekọ nkran omenimra hye bedwafie ene Mr Speaker be de kiro tosumienu ene tena akonwam nanso wonfa nkwa wonfa mra yesi nipa na mfo me quorum omododo anso de ye meeting ye yenti proceedings amaso
na de ni nyina mu no huhu bia ne na mframa mu aka ho bi suafo heban boso ni pedifo bia kopie mu odagbon ensase so
ene awia pramtobra kase bemu ye ne chama wontumi kasa ma for danka no poku bo atembo nkomo efa demonstration bia nwene so na ma wanfo se oma beye ede tie ono chama wontumi ne awie ye no na kakare frempon nwene so na matre hene so se de Piero na se special aid be kan ye no ntesa wo bibika
na omanfo behwe ya na enka Ghana mfana nyina ne nansa anajo ye da sumu ma de chen no abna grid kofa bebo mane de nti a nkane ne dum ye oma pachew a omoso mgusu ensisi
na first lady ma me Rebecca Kufuado nso ato ne boase asi hostel kama ya man kwada kokuram yade ekire won na se de kwa ya sabia wonya baabi ene won kofo ena no na ni gisempa taatro de montwa ya nwumre yi ye de ebeba
ene Reverend Isaac Owusu bempa okọ court jano na so opposite for sa no ekoba ne sen
na yebehwe inflation yesika sam ne baabi akoduro sika no de ode to ade abusum ye twam na ne yetimi to ne dodo sen ni nyina afa ho nsensem ene nkom
ante ensem ne kire mu sei na ete
abusafo de yete ene se abema bia wanya mfinhie aduro no enan ye fe no Abdul Kudus Adam wo obi a waye bubuafo anesa chese wontimi nante nkoba bia enna na so ba akososo asa hona ma chese na so kura sesi aka ho na ono ewo nantom ye wo omantife emansirimu enti nka ho se de wosi adidam a nka wo se wotena kwanchempo no sresrade na so se dabi kakra wo wie secondary school o wie ye no ena ono atime asuansa no djuma kakra ene mobile phone esaya oboa obeye etonso mkura na yidi komana akoda ibeye enu achi no se o radio na besaya no ya amawo na de aba ne se de wo ye nyina no edem na oye no sanse wonyini buafo bia obetima nya mango dua bia se ana se koko dua bia se ana se pe dua bia se no ba pata bia tana ho a obetimi ayesa repair adwuma wo ye no ena o sene dem na dem a wo se no ha wa ba mu ni se enipa ntwam woni dem no ma hu se wo repair mobile phone na so repair bibi no ma ya ama no enti ma na adwuma no enkoso titudu ba bia na eya ne se oh me se me dem na ya na se ne kameso me kura me gire ja kwa na me srasrade wo se da bi o mesrade da o hye ne dem ano ye adwuma na ne mu a ohia ne se ka adonfo beso ne mu no watime nya bibi kakra wi aba kwa ho a wo hye no ye adwuma no obi atwom a obehu ne se obi hye ho a wo repair mobile phone na ka watime nya adwuma kakra yentie na akosam.
Actually, I'm complete exercise. Now I'm finished. I'm complete exercise. At least school. I am doing phone repairing the middle phone repairing for a living. So now I'm not doing anywhere apart from phone repairing. But I depend on this. My job money is problem because the customers are the customers is not seeing me because of what I did. So now I need shop. So if you get shop, my customer more coming. So I will get more customers. I can all kinds of phones. I repair all kinds of phones, flashing, remove password, decoding, all of that. I remove. I work, so I need a shop. I need support from NGOs, government, whoever can support me to achieve my dream. I need a laptop for flash. Also, I want to continue my parents are as post farmers, have money to support me. They don't have money to support me. So I'm begging people to come to my assistance. Because of my work, I want to go.
Mo here Facebook no abrante no na ote ne dem ho a ode ho akoye ono ane shop ya wo repair mobile phone TV jama freje nkwa na mehwe mo manhu no bibia ye microwave nyina wo ho a decoder nyina busa for yese oye ma yeye yɛfɛ no Abdul Kudus Adam onye mfinhyia aduonu nan yɛne abusafo no bi bɔ nkɔmmɔ na ne wɔfa ɛyɛ Osman Abubakari yɛne bɔ nkɔmmɔ ɛna wɔde tu wiase anokwa wɔma yɛdɔm bɛyɛ bia de aboa na nso so yɛyɛ nim sɛ baakofo de ne nsa ntumi enso nyame ne kata na baako so nkyerɛ damfo wɔma yɛ bia sɛ adomfo etie Oyerepa sisi ane kura mpo yɛsɛ bɛyɛ ɔmo mo a kɔm da asase anyanwam
ndaba na pyetem da dunia ndaba na dunia la only part to so kan wonna ku songote ku dusi ko shikuru makare chanto to temban aiza shi ko tela mobile malbiye to onna mobile ye to ma be tampa to on to ku marka so zana tusir na to so zana wasir na to temini kama bya ne ge tikaba to ne la ratba la jira to don ko intira ama otu sima bobo te kari ko den to ko ode obo otu sima don benma ode te no rin ya shishi ka shi shi ma nye okoi odu ko bon ko shi ka to son le wunda ba da ma ka biara ko son le wunda ba dan kana bayara ma malo ko o te bi te wo bi ka ba sha den darle den ne mana le to malda so tin no o chela tamal tabanya ni boma ne asasan ni ma nemla kusonte ko yetusma ne de yela bora dan campagne ko yela la bayarama de para la de lapstis timilozanya telonko kawo
wei aye abema Abdul Kudus Adam ya oye yarefo no ne ofa Osman ena akase oka no dagbani na yenua Paul ewa ha obekire mu kakra bia maye Paul na etesen
pacha ya boss
yo metese o ka bibi se o mu hiamwa se da ka ho no
o kire mu se na msika sem fam no o mu ni bia abusuani ni bi a o betimi de abo abrante no ma na adwuma na wo ye no o betimi akọ nkan enti ko be hia Ghana for mo a so ma be boa no watimi anya sika na o de abo abrante no watimi aye na adwuma no kama na ba bia wote no kura no e ho nhyeda emmoa ko nti onya shop bi a nka ne bebo mu ye pa na ka abrante na adwuma o ye no ka betima boa na wo so atima nya kakra ato aduane edi
yo abusafo yenua Paul no the sports messiah wono na acheche mu kakra e odagbane no na enu achi no Paul menko eye abema ye kana asem ne nana eye maame Adamu wono so kasa na odi tu dwase edan na ne nana ne semu a eho na orepa mobile phone microwave TV ne ho nkra de ba no aye na dadwene oda wonna wadwene ho saa senka ye be boa na watimanya ba bia free ho no ma ka be ma na dwuma na kura tumpon kana ne beje pa yentie ne nana no so
Não, por exemplo, hoje se ele fica. Então, se com calma, então com lanche,
so
e dá lá tu som. Ou tu não fica parte da.
tama mu bare
Eu cá, embora. Deu com ele lá hoje nada não viu. Tá com ele. Na abunu o wa. Ele som. Nem foi nele. Isso. Nka nyerema dama o kayi ko shere muna tanan kunna ma nye bira kayi ko shere ko so kon kalama nto kulanji na
so
ila la to son o to ni ki ka parte ba
tama mu bare
eu ka embora dama kunni la o na tanan no tá com ele na abunu oh wow ele som nem foi nele isso então nyerema dama o kayi ko shere muna tanan kunna ma nye bira kayi ko shere
yo wei aye maame Adamu no abema na ye kana asem ne nana no Paul ha de memre Paul
boss
metese wo kasa senka edana ne nana ne semu no ama adwuma ne nkoso enti ka onya abonten baa yanka bebo da pa sa no wo kan wo
no kure o chirimu a se bebia wo da no ehwo an wo sa ye na adwuma no enti company for ya ne moa ama ne ntimi nya shop kuma bi kura na se ne nyoma no de ya adwuma odi begum ho no wakoya adwuma no ho na de chia oba na obeda fi ade chia no asa akwato na adwuma no so enti we de kotodwagu form a omo se Ghana company for se omo mra ma ya ablantie mu a because owie SS no scan wo betimi dia to school no so nche ukọ northern region so afamu a say adwuma amlante ne be ye o metimi nya sika kakra to motom no adwuma no wo form kakra nti we do slempenifo a mpenifo dawroma omna na me ya ablante ne nanan ne bai moa se de be ya nka won so ebetimi adiye wo asase so ti we de ne kotodwegu form a wo sre Ghana ban
yo Paul Ebadase Ebusa for chrono at the Zang no Nanton district northern region na mo ampesa mo boa ye kwa hodo bia so no Oyerepa TV Oyerepa FM Facebook YouTube o de o ma yasote a ye no obedi nkita ho na yetima boa abemen
ye free Nanton ya ewo mentifie savana mantamu na ya besen akọ enkran ene dey o mayimra hye bedwafo kwa asetena Emma Mr. Speaker abambagbe no oni ho na be de ache yira jo sei usu no no su ni ho enta be de ache otoso mienu Right Honorable Andrew Esiama Moako ya wo ye adanse formena MP ono ene kotena adwamu na ye wo bibi won hyehyeye mu a ye de meeting wakrachi dwuma emu ya ye friend se quorum ye kase ko bi eformi quorum a enipa dodo a edom sa ko no ye chemu miensa e wo sa anye bi kura ne mu mienu na chese 2 out of 3 no ena esese hia na mo form quorum ana number bi na mo de ayenhyiamu ene Mr. Speaker be de che otosum ye no kotena ase bono quorum ne form no amma ena omo aye se ne yentu hye be don hwere ba kwa na no hwere mienu achi ebi ane nipa ni bi nam kwan so ba ampara omo pagya omumu omo kɔbaaye no saa na netie ma yewra Emmanuel yewra Esiama Amoako Andrew Esiama Amoako chese eno mama na fere nenimu egu ase o mama nenimu egu ase pa wa fere na yensem twani Emmanuel kwaku ansa e wa homa so a on de no wo ntide ko nyina no ohuni otwa bi hu mfoni ache na no achi no yakoti Mr. Speaker ansem kwaku adwo
aka me jusu
ene Mr. Speaker say ni nuanom na ma na fere nenu wa mama nenimu egu ase ho asem te sen
yo apia ene city last week na second deputy speaker Olunyafo Andrew Esiama Amoako from na Shebegani a ono second deputy speaker e de Ghana na Shebegano ono ma watna kunyamu a sanse speaker Aldansman against Parliament ana na Tiche Olunyafo Joseph for de wusu omo eni ho enti ono no tiagambo na ene after na sha say anopa no mbom pae no ana Olunyafo Gavin Kwame Goja na Shebegani edema adakwa baton person so from Mentemo ano opija standing order 48 there so what numbers na na Shebegano na na Shebegano standing order smith there anta na Shebegano de petition edema oman no owata omunye ni tadu to be sanse omudo na 275 nti owata omuchemu miensa ba ko ewo ho anta na omasa pitana na na petition bo ho omati di am oman no na so hwe pro ho a nipa na ewo ho no omudo don enso ma tika no hwe no omo 10 minutes omo bodon obi ama and the speaker say omo nko kenda 1 hour and the same at the study house no for 1 hour e for 2 hours no omo tamba tinata no na people do na ho no no make around 60 plus na no mun do 92 percent 175 no chemu mienta what onya 92 ono from quorum of the house omo start na se twenya any part of mun hianta omo de be system no omo enya and the for Mama, sorry, say, Omacha and Nipa Ma, Omon Kanipa, and what them one at Omokai, not Omun, do Nipa, do on a dear, and then also Omudai, and nothing from Omucha at the plan of not said about what I said, the Nipa, do one of the 92 year, and yeah, dear omelette to at the plan so. On Yapo after your market, a leadership of the majority, a part of our 2 year, but and run on to the church, my tante, and Ra and Omega Gavin, if you and for Mama to speak an enemy among Pamona Tomokan so not the Omudiome and I insisted Mama I didn't have to or am I to begin.
To obstruct the work of Parliament, Mr. Speaker. By the standing orders in 10 minutes you should be counted. And it past 1 hour and Mr. Speaker has not yet counted. Mr. Speaker, you have heard enough. Let's have the counting take place, Mr. Speaker.
We here and on for a year. Samoku to Abrapa, as to Solina Honor say. But what I standing orders, Matani order 41. Actually, say, and I should be done nothing, and a no map on 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock. Now, some may go to me. I can't bet any to not about 2 o'clock. And you also let me understand order 1 or so, 41 or so. No, I can say, and I should be done on asset now for and next. As I said, a brand of some. And the Omu was out na ampani pa no so and the speaker eka say so move motion dia onya asembia kan na onya for eye saboku to abrakwa move motion yes the to no to speaker ni o me
believe that as representatives of the people we must ensure that we strive to do what is right. We all know what is right. We know when proceedings are to commence. And we know what a quorum is. And we know that there is business to be conducted. We cannot, when we have failed to do what we must do, now try to hide under all kinds of gymnastics to, as it were, circumvent the rules. We all know what is right. And the lesson from today, which must be going into tomorrow and subsequently, is to ensure or must lead to ensuring that honorable colleagues come to the House punctually and to conduct business. Based on that, Mr. Speaker, I rise under the authority given to members of Parliament under Order 41(1)(a) of our standing orders, which is expressed that at any time prior to 3 minutes before the stated time for concluding a sitting, a member may move for the adjournment of the House. Based on Order 41(1)(a), I respectfully ask, Mr. Speaker, that proceedings be adjourned to tomorrow. Hopefully, the majority side will put their house in order and ensure that there's a quorum for business tomorrow.
Onyampo eye samokude to abrakwa ewi sa na speaker etan ase otunani onakasa nani efa eye edwum ho edi ekenkan ya wakaya be ne mpensa so na ampani pe obo no na omododo no enso 92 na was omo fomi korum no nti okaze da du ye oni ya yese ode mrade de adwuma se obema emese pega no so ratet na so efe na omo dia se ochina na so ochina omo ba na so omododo so number na was omo na so dia na omo he na omo ase atena na so omo pa atena na so nti okaze kene omo yindi omo nani mo ti papa se eye speaker oti emu na wo twen se emese ya to ba betna na mo ti mutuma na mo yi juma so dia so pa ko Ghana na watna ya bedu eye 2 o'clock na mbese bi dafo do na ntuniama ya to mo gune ni mo ti pa andu atama mo akọ second speaker say no dey come etuga epai.
We cannot suspend the House again. It's past 2, so I'll go ahead to adjourn the House to tomorrow 10 o'clock in the forenoon. Honorable members, I think this House is embarrassed. The cameras are on us. We deliberately suspended the House for 1 hour just to make sure you get the numbers. Yet, we couldn't make out the numbers. I've counted and counted and counted and counted. We still have not made the numbers. Please, let's advise ourselves. The House stands adjourned.
We any the see ye e wo man yi mra hye bedwafie a yensem twe ni Emmanuel Kwaku ansa de ho ama ne eboba ye ntie abusuafo yi ne tenteni ne tie mu ano ne se nem se speaker siama mo ako wantumi anhia mra hye bedwafo wo se aye nimguase de ama no ne nso so oye ne ho de ahwia na enye ye nti ye tu nhyiemu no akohye da foforo
Kwazna chira wadwe Oyerepa 100.7 FM so in Facebook Oyerepa radio ananse Oyerepa news ya kuanim na yenim se yendi na na matrankonwa ensase me kire dagbon na nse ye na twedi ampone na nanama dawro mote kokoso okura dima kotere pa enya ho nsenkan ye ema wo munya ya na afoforo kura wo hono ya na Abubakar ya wotoso mienu na ben ne kakranie video bi asa ne nam se audio zu a ni nyina ne namu amazate ntia be fa so no aye nkomodie se nkofo bi hunehuna won be ye ahenie ntunwo ewo dabon sase so a aye pinso ewo tifdo mantemu ameka se no abusuafo nipa yam hyehye ne pa na sade ya nsem ne sie keka koro na wakwa akonya so for heba mboso che defense minister honorable Dominic Nitiwu ni apafu bi kan ho ene e wo momodo nkuma no afa dom kase no afa omra hye bedwamu nyina ekafua nti woyi mu no a wo mkoye kopie mu dabon sase so no wo makwa akoto ya na Abubakar Otosumienu ani na di nkomo na nsem honorable Dominic Nitiwu adi tu dwa nyina ne se eziankro padum IGP fra fofo wa badampare ene na pamfo ayo ma dwese kwa bia so be prebambo ewo man mu ntwe emma pata biribiri ansi eno nti ayimhye bi wono mamfo enyimfiri wo mu ewo san pata mu ho kire se ekwa bia wo be fa so na asumdwe ma pano a ankro padum edi ni prepre ho enkonko ba se be firi won sa no ebekọ so atera ho ti obi akoda wontum ena Openi Nitiwu za to aso ekire se safia panic no wane na namframa mu ankofo sori a wo mu hunu ankofo ja emhihye ewo ankofo so no se ya yire mrani mu pampe se wan hweye na wo hunu ankofo bo hanya bia na ankofo emhihye wo mayi mu na akokko ne sa na emane bi be koso ha ene entre ha ehunu abasa no a emra no so mu a edo betu ba bi wo se do to pepepepepe enye ja akra Honorable Dominic Nitiwu na mote no enkafa che sene no ewa chiri kakra na hye wo mu a aye mfidie ehunu ha na wapani James Agaga so eyemra hye bedwani mo mafo mo obusa no of na oka wo perifo ka ekoye ni bi so so ehu agya ne nsem ode atu dwanie wo se wo mu a as I say wo mu no about training ni sa videos ne sa audio wi ane na namonti so yi a ya tititie no wo mu mom na e dabon nkonwa na sense ase atamfo wo mu mom no mpesa asomdwe be di hin nti sa fo no de se wo mu che wo mu pa enya asam ketua.
And so it's like that I, together with some other MPs who also come from the NDC fraternity, MPs such as the Honorable Mutala, MP for Tabali Central, the Honorable Member for Safulubu, Bandai, to accompany the Honorable Minister for Defense in order to send the signal that in matters of peace, we are one. There is no distinction between NDC, MPP. The peace and unity of Dabang and the entire northern region and the north is of paramount importance to all of us. Without peace, we cannot have development. And I'm happy that in His Royal Majesty's speech, he clearly identified peace as a necessary good. I mean, that is, if you are to have development, the two are like twins. We have accompanied the defense minister to underscore one point, that we have become privy to some information that is making rounds on social media such as Facebook, WhatsApp, about an imminent war between the Bumbes and Bumbes. So we have accompanied the Honorable Minister for Defense to assure His Royal Majesty and His elders in chiefs that we are united in our quest to work to ensure that there is everlasting peace and unity between the two ethnic groups of the north. If you look around, you find that some of the MPs here on our side are of Kumba extraction. Some are of the Kumba extraction. And then if you go to the other side,
no James Agaga dia odi kogu ye na de ensem no do so Dr. Jacob Yakubu Mahama wono so ade a wogira na nanoma na mu ade to adwa wono na ye ohe popropo e wo Zangbalen ye no won saase ne so kire se ono ne gina ya na na mu a ono so di nsemi atudwa.
Honorable Minister, you get your talent. We are all mature enough to that we are not in a war with the winner. The so-called winners win and come back home to lead to where they are going. Then what caused the start the war in the first place? The last conflict we had in 1984, nearly 3 decades ago, is still fresh in our minds. We all lost year one, broke down years of trust between tribes among families. We haven't been picking up the pieces, and now we have started finding the place of secret again. As brothers, we will continue to live together with or without the war. By winning the war, when do we try to vanquish them? Which region are we sending them? How are we going to resurrect those that were unknowingly killed in the battleground? Who is going to take care of the widows and the needy orphans? Honorable Minister of Defense, we will need these answers from you obviously today. By your position as the highest ranking government officer in northern region, you are the political leader of the region and are supposed to have the greatest influence among all your colleagues. So a lot is expected of you, and because of the sensitive secret position you hold, any black act that is unleashed on this region will clear your conscience long after you leave the field. So I would like to invite you to come to the bottom of the matter and as a cabinet minister, taking this smoldering issue at your next station will turn interference and facilitate a lasting resolution of this matter. As Overlord of Dam, it is my responsibility to ensure that all people living in Dam are protected and their right to enjoy a life.
Eja bushafo yesi wadabo na matrankunya asase so ono aboniti woni mpanimfo apamfo no ekọ ye no nkomo a efiri mu baye eno no.
Ene ete yes o manfo a wo nwene so number 1 chese o ma ba demonstration e de tia chama wuntumi adenti a wo mo kwan chama wuntumi na age ne ho aye ho contract a why ne ho chompiata gangaria kwadwala ta waje sase aboso ne so kwan ya wuntumi nye ento ma ba demonstration etia no ene ne ono ne kasamafo uradan kan opoku boate bonkomo nasem nyina ne se o kireche mu de ntia ebesinde no yewra chama wuntumi ontimi enwie kwan no ba ko pa di mu akotena ebokoto dwam de se aso ba ko adwaye na wachare no osiesie ne ho ye de amaniwura enti opese o ye kwan no kama ene kura kan bi na ama wo delay sa no na mo me gotie danka no poku bo achen de o kan no ye wi ayato aso bonkomo
de tiere se anya so for omo Ghana for omo pata adepa so we na kwan pa na omo timi editi akonia pa e o Ghana ni na ka mo benti ana tema wuntumi ejeto na so ko nkodin se be ya FPP apanya ni Espanye, ebe tumi no ya be Ghana kwan maye. Eti jama wuntumi ni adinboni bia ema enyesifo. Enyen se akwan ye no ko road construction subject of touch. Timely. So contractor obedo ya person or to watch your pine no I'm a which a pine I wouldn't have saw what on rush. And I said you would you must hear no to the boy said what be piano. Yeah, my pine. I am such a to teach now or yen and yet the cheer better no plan on a street tree. The time you know I said you just like a book to him now in cities and I say intercity rules were Diara. Now, I want to be yes, it's your own Tashantan region, no, our entity, no other funny on the survey humanity. It's a miscellaneous of what the woman now would say, and you also for the my culture or more in say in Siemens, say you do say a day or more, meaning I say, why am I ever sorry? Me, I understand. I want to show air for air, but yeah, that's what we so contract of the contract, not the pressure to me, so that's all the pressure ever one so obey. I should everybody. No, why not? I say, I'm with the yes or more. Chema would you want about the day. Now, I'm quite a bit of food. Because who is that answer for? The mere job of the told me I would share the one day. I'm with you. I bet you come our Ghana.
Yo, and you muti ye a ra Duncan Opoku Boateng Bombay and your tafrano on the Casa and my chairman to me. Bernard and Chibo Siakom. Na a brand new bon come Riana no, and your so number 1, number 2, number 3. Woman tia be the course be a no say Adena I Bombay walk on the sano. Newa and your name Nana Kakare from Pong a Christian como. Now on a year so number 3 hene. Yanyana wa homano swa o pese ye di ko kakra. Nana ma joy. Mira, that's a pass at Wajim. So, what Roma, Yane Bombay, Duncan, Opoku Boateng, Chama, to me, special aid, Ebon, Como, Wiano. Now, Tie, what Roma also will be Kakraka, now Kafa home.
No, the Damotia for the Rajo. Minister Materi, Chief, Nalata from home. And ya, Mitu, Aya, Upu, oh, yeah. Piaro Katama Ura Chamauti. Or Catholic Maria Church Chamauti and air final. Not using way out you pa. So, things you can do anything. The Lipania, not all for Samalaye. A bread you say I didn't pray. And if I say, that's how my moon. You know what I say? You know, number 1, Alcohol Bloom. I want to fancy that the public away, you know, the woman so far, and you also come to look at Kama. What time is number 1? I will call number 2, and Yakosi. And you are down my friend in it. Why not bring the hour? And just let you have a problem in a car called Kama. And that's will be a requirement that deliver to a woman out for us officer. Adding, Meno can say. I'm all for a year, and yet, and Yama Honomo. If we have a general quality here, what would draw 2 weeks of money? So, when you're not, Yamias don't to be a final. The other final man is here saying, it's necessary. Or Casa, all the Casa, not the white and altar, the on there, altar. I'm not a silly problem for Mira, a quantity of man on more money, and fear bear sending I could each amount to me. That man, I won't tell me, sir. It is why I could drink if I feel a beer taboo, air banner, or yes, taboo. After Yakosi, Abodiase, Motiaso. That was 100% and now why I find a CA. But what about me? And now why I drink, say, you are over 5% to play. Hey. Some you won your way. No, because of a mention sanity. Oh, but Panakas made you account for karma. It was your phone, we came to actual Mapama, your president, as a magistrate. If you have Obiata on to car, every tell you, every notion about number 3, and then your question about the assist, not all Chapay and Senate. Yewa Nana Kokutia Aloya Asapu. A commission. You call minister number 1. No, no poor. That young Oya, you know, count Linko. Oh, The brand is a kind of what may America why.
Okasa mo kan bibi eye no krasa akronfo ha mo pa nam kwan boni nti
e na wa cho abra an Robert ata ko bi okwan ni so a se si ma wa ba Roma a he fo mi assembly man for the yaji ka yaji barriers I am district commander am a police o ma ji barrier a o kwa ma de si aro a ho to e ba kakra ana mi kwan boni nti
na miwura wadaroma mine so number 1 for say on ba demonstration number 2 number 3 for so mo be join ana
me fa mo so pa me kire kra no me am tu ho na mo se o me ready so mo ya ata mo bo na body asi ya kwase number 2 number 3 ye nyina ya be support to by demonstration no
miwura e bada
na politics ni aye wadaroma anya politics ni aye ye nye pe ye am ye kro e dia brad si aka no kra kra o man no se wo nya man ka so aye
yo miwura e bada se nwumre wo brad ya ma Oyerepa fo nyina bibia ne ye be sa no wadi ko bi
leso da masipa da bia no mo ko so ne mudu pa mo ye no ya ta mo chi
that's ebru
leso da masipa
nana kakare frempon na akasa no mine so number 1 hene na abusafo mo tie ya no kwa se won fa akwan so da ye ka no hunu efri taabuom ko se mine so number 1 na me de makọ aye mienu nyumtuni Daniel Kusi ne papa frem me ko ho na doctor Ampofo KNUST we senior lecturer ho o se papa frem me ko aye wo ho na akuya wonam kwa no so a du ba bi a yise wo gina na akọ se mefa me na ba akọ mfa hen mefa ba akọ mfa hen ka e ba yise mu gina mu wura ba bi na ono etima besene adan bonka de demu no etimi wura engine mese na ebinum de asase si ho
titi o
de me ko ye busu me mienu asem na me kan yo aha wura ba ho no mo keka akronfo gogu kwan so no akronfo
kwan ni nyentu ntimi speed enti ono ehia kra so be ba ke di ho akronfo ni ehia so be si kwan na obi pamo obi
o mo huna ma ne papa obechiu edi obi kra se ka fa form pakeka no nante form ko
tu kra ka boka shire nu aso
ene mura mu saa na ko free tabuom e ko dru nwene so na ma 1 no kuro bi ani nkwancha biem te ngura mu saa na kwan nye na
ebi akra obi betimi abeto
so
kwan asem yesu kwan ho dodo yesu kwan ho too much kwan ho nsam nhyɛ dan ko yie ne eye kakra na ne ye were so san de bi ngu so ɛna de aka wiram ne nso aka abusuafo ye to ansam no so Ghana Grid Company Limited a eternity afeni Gridco ya womo ena enyamahode no wonoa no wato ama Electricity Company of Ghana for no mo so abeton bi di amaye na no dwada omafo be kai efiri be no nso mpai mu kro no kane ano esoko na giwom na ba na ye han na sa ye dim ye din koni bi na sa giwom sa sese nkrofo nyoma omo na enifie sa bre no omo anfam nyoma ntutu ye ne de bebre na akoye no na omo TV ne fridges ne nyoma nyina asese na ade chenra no ena Gridco fo ene ECG fo be pa achew abekire nsem emu na Gridco kira enra yi beye no miensa abapa ho sema aduanan ena amane boba abonten se womo enhuma ne bi efiri aboazi ebe kumasi transmission line no bibie bu atoso entite 330 kV line no a ye kumasi fo yen dia efiri aboazi ye wo atoema ntemu ba no bogoso ena bibie bu atoso enti ama eho atrepo kakra ya akofa hawidi aba enam so mo kire se engineer fo guso dendenden eye ho adwuma ya engineer Mark ba a wono ene omanfo kasa ye no kire se enche tawa na ebubu akogu nhuma ne so no ombehwe siesie ni nyina na womo esre omanfo mfa de esie ni nyina enche.
Indeed, there has been a challenge with the transmission system, but nobody is in darkness now. There is no power outage anywhere, but that is not to say that we don't have a challenge. So what has happened is that somewhere in the western region near Bogoso, there has been a communication tower has collapsed. Unfortunately, it fell on the transmission line, the major transmission line on 330,000 volts from Abuazi to Kumasi. The tower collapsed on the lines. So as it fell, it pulled down the adjoining 2 towers. So in effect, we've lost the transmission line from Abuazi to Kumasi. So the challenge that has brought is that we are not able to evacuate power from the Abuaze generation enclave from the Abuaze generation enclave to Kumasi. So Kumasi is currently being supplied by other transmission lines, and that is what has happened. The towers are down. It is going to take a while to replace them because now you have to reassemble everything, reconstruct everything, and bring up the tower again. And we hope that the damage is not so extensive, because if what has happened affects the foundation, it means that we have to construct everything from scratch, and that's going to take some time. But we are hoping that it's just the towers that are gone, and within 2 weeks they will be up. If that is the only damage.
Na engineer Makba anu sie no sande to aso kire se yen ya ye Kumase ne mpotamo de anhwe yi a ye beda dum so emu esansa ahoma na efra Abuaze no na ebe Kumase de ahoma na to so nti power rationing ebebe Kumase.
The voltages will be low, especially in Kumasi. So we are assessing the situation during the peak. That is when the system is stressed most. And that is where we expect that the voltages will go down. If they go down to an extent that the system cannot sustain it, then Kumasi and its environs might be affected. But apart from Kumasi, all other places in Ghana will have a. We are working with our stakeholders, particularly ECG. If the situation during peak time is when it's stressed. So peak time is between 6:30 and 9:30. If the situation is such that the voltages are going too low for Kumasi, then we will advise ECG to shed some load in some parts of Kumasi. However, if we assess the situation at peak, today is the first time that we are having a real challenge. Assess the situation at peak and we can contain it, then we will continue to have normal supply in Kumasi. However, the voltages will not be at the best as we used to have. So we are just hoping that everything will be fine during the peak, and we'll advise ECG and the citizens of Kumasi accordingly. Okay, so the challenge is only during the peak time. That is when we will have this. So after the peak, everything reverts to normal.
We yera no ye engineer Makba na some de atu Kumase fu anim no nti se no ahoma na ete ya na de ni bo na ni gra na afi ye hu ni se gina so no ye hu ma tete
ye hu na ate no
ye Kumase fu nti anwe ye dum so ebebe Kumase ne mpotamo
mmeremu ense Yankopon omo nya ne ntem dum so no an yetimu etimpo dada wo ma se kra de na em nwanwa se de kania ni si bonu mu gogro ujagro he nje be ya oni ma kwa no dundum ni preko na kra nso dundum wai na entene baby ye fa ni echire mu ewo enkran ma pani ho kani ma me Rebecca Kufuado kanko na wato ne buase akosi wo tramodern hostel na chese enkwada no a aya na kokram cancer echechechechire wo mo basa ni titiriu se wo mo no wo mawofo ejom kwa mbenya baabi ada wa bra dokotafo egusuo na wo pe apomdin be di ama wo no se mpepi ya na safo na setrem din pa na ne wuhwemu a we be 54 bed facility a ma me no wa ya de ompre no na ne ma me Rebecca echese ni suade hunu ene so beboa ama apomdin tumi afa no tuma pa bi afira na bia so no bia Facebook Oyerepa radio no da no de efepa nti nkwada no ene ahwefo ekọ na se ekokora monko ade a akwada no benya baabi maami a na papa ohwefo de ne kọ ye no nso ebenya baabi edi ntiri ato kokopem se nkropo be na dom na ne ho ebeto no maame Rebecca Kufuado mampani ye first lady ni nsemni.
It is whispered in fear and despair. The denial, agony, desperation and the financial burden of cancer makes it almost a taboo subject. Yet we must speak about it. We must shine a light on it to dispel the darkness. We must speak about hope. Because really, when caught early, treated early and comprehensively, when the necessary resources are available, recovery is pretty high for childhood cancers. But we must all play our part. As we all know, children with cancer and their families face many challenges. One major challenge is the lack of suitable accommodation for the duration of a child's treatment for those who travel from afar. This may also be a reason why only about 30% of the expected number of children suffering from cancer attend the 2 treatment facilities in Accra and Kumasi each year. I recall that on the 15th of February 2017, I was the guest of honor at a ceremony to mark International Childhood Cancer Day and groundbreaking for the construction of a hostel to house children undergoing treatment for cancer and their parents or guardians. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the truth is, no matter one's station in life, life always offers one an opportunity to help others. So I took on the challenge of building this hostel, not quite knowing at the time how I was going to do it. But I was determined to look for the resources to build a safe, comfortable place for children receiving cancer treatment and their families.
Mame Rebecca Ekufado negusu a wokasa no wose enyemrewu ebere a wo musi saada no o manfa no ahogono so kra na nsusu no woda mpanimfo bi ase wono ankasa ne kunu twetweromtwo one ne ko na kra na awoba ode ne sato no so ahunu woni maimu ana so ayehye nwa ne kunu President Ekufado woda ase pa ni apamfo bi a omo ebo homodin.
This was a personal mission. We needed a hostel urgently and time was of the essence. It took a while because it was not always easy to find the finances to do so. But today, the Sunshine Hostel is standing and I give God all the glory. I also commend the many individuals who encouraged me, including my husband, President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, my family, Professor Rena, and the staff at the Kolebu Oncology Department, the board, management, and staff of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, the Ghana Parents Against Childhood Cancers, and staff of the Office of the First Lady and of the Rebecca Foundation. Today, we are here to commission the Sunshine Hostel, an ultra-modern 54-bed hostel, the first of its kind in Ghana and the biggest in Africa. This will relieve the stress of having to travel several hours repeatedly for treatment, along with its associated costs and risks for children and their families.
First Lady Namochen Wenkano, Mampeni, Nawokani, Mame Rebecca, Akufo-Addo nti enede fo adwumadi akọ so Kolebu abaya sabia sa hostel wo makwa akosi no ye frɛ Sunshine Hostel eno ehon nkomo enamati.
Reverend Isaac Ousuansa ana ye kofa bai ya wada general overseer Emma Glorious Word Power Ministry International asorana no Mobeka ya osu bempa na September da to so dumienu ono ene ne krofo mo ye na asofo ni bi ekọ maame agrada fie yes wo mo kwa akọche no wo mo na ye do me ye bia na aposifo ba mu a kekekere mo che no no na wo mo de sobo maako miensa na bo ne sabre de kan breach of peace kese wasai o maye somdwie ebiem threat of death kese wabo maame ne hanya so beku no to de wo ahunhura wo bi na ba ko ka ho ye assault of public officer ye no kese tama ne wo mo a ne wo mo kwaye no asoja aposifo yes on beti wo mo no ebinu ni asoja fo ne hamen ama on pempeme aposifo no kakra aposifo na make o masemi edini je se wa assault public officer enu so tiamra entimu no o mo che no ema wo kodam na nsa de to so dunum enu mu jan na o mo ma no bill gina sika ye 200,000 Ghana cedis so afi ope nipa be kan ho ene man bill na so for dia kwani abasa ena o mo call circuit court ho Womugodu apeno na prosecutor kwandubofo Chief Inspector Dennis Tekwete ebe cheche macha court se court say court enhwe nanka asem no kra no papa no yenya no yenya ne sasa say yenya no kutuka da fidi edi nkroma no ebi no mo de beyi no yeja no wie ya apeno mo sase ya che obiem adan yes of fresh charge bi a ɛno so yɛsa de bɔ wɔ ɛwɔ court foforo koraa enti saa circuit court no deɛ ɛhɔ no ya discharge na wie hɔ asɛm no ɛno ma sa kyiri biem yɛ no so different court a yɛsa nya asɛm foforo so yɛde abɛbɔ no yɛ no so yɛde ne kɔ enti apostle na na sa kyi no wom enti yɛhwɛ court koro na yɛde ne kɔ no ɛne no so charge a yɛsa de akɔ no na yɛsese deɛ kɔmpɔn kono sɛ asɛm no ayere ta
abusuafo yɛbɛfiri ɔsɔfo wusu bɛmpanko mu eso ne ahwɛ sikasɛm ne sɛ deɛ adwadie ho nsɛm esi ɛteɛ na yɛwɔ ɔman Ghana mu yi obi kan sɛ yɛte po ano yi deɛ ne yɛte anwem adeɛ kyi a yɛbɛsɔre akɔ yɛnwuma so yi sika ne yɛnyina yɛkɔpɛ na yɛsika no a yɛnya deɛ yɛde tɔ adeɛ ne deɛ yɛn nso yɛde kɔtɔ no yɛ na hoɔden ne baabi ɛgyina no etumi ɛkɔ sɛ ɛmfaso ɔba so ma yɛn anaa yɛdi dwa ɛbɔ ka na yɛhwɛ bɛyɛ October busumi mu besi abusumi du baako a yɛwura mu yi a inflation ɛyɛ sika hoɔden sika na nkasa hoɔden na nneɛma a yɛtumi tɔ no ɛso apagya ɛkɔ soro ne nyinaa no ɛne sɛ fango bo kɔ soro amansan dwa so yɛn nso Ghana ha fango no yɛtu bi na nso nyɛ deɛ so yɛ nyina yɛkɔkra ne yɛde aba na enya beduru a ɛto bebree deda so ya taxis yɛ ne kora na drɔbafo ɛkuwudo bi no mu ka so mama ban akosi bɛ na wɔtwe yɛ wie yɛn kosi bɛ fiada wante taxis ne bi so a drɔbafo so mbɛte atua na emu no sɛ fango bo kɔ soro a enye nsunsuaso wɔ nneɛma nyinaa momone kora yɛde twi abomu mu no ya na enye nsunsuaso ɛwɔ so afi inflation ho nkɔmɔ ayenya na nso sɛ yɛ no Ghana Statistical Service ɛde amanebo abetu dwa abosome bia yɛto ano bu akonta na yɛde inflation no aba every September abosome nkunu mu ebesi abosome du a etwa mu no inflation ne kɔ nanim ɔhama obupan hwe ɛne akyire ponsia 0.6% anuane de food inflation no eno so ekọ beye ohama obupan edu baako omaye ne baako ena ne enye nuane nan food inflation eno so ekọ anim ohama obupan edu baako sara eye September bosumi nkwemu Professor Kwabena Enin ya woye government statistician ensemi omuntu aso
Non-food perspective on a trend basis, we have for the second month in a row see a divergence between food and non-food inflation. So unlike year-on-year food and non-food inflation, where we've seen a convergence, we've seen a divergence of about 1.6 percentage points between non-food inflation and food inflation, with non-food inflation dominating with 1.3% and food inflation standing at negative 0.3%. Between imported items and locally produced items, we continue to see a narrowing between locally produced items and imported items, with the gap currently standing at 3.0 percentage points relative to the 3.4 that was recorded for the month of September 2021, with locally produced items standing at 11.1%, indicating a drop of about 0.4 percentage point, and imported items standing at 8.8%, indicating an increase up from 8.1% that was recorded for the month of September 2021. From a regional perspective, for the third time in a row, we see food inflation soaring in the northern part of the country, specifically with Upper West recording food inflation of 27.7%, followed by Northern Region 21.5%, with Greater Accra food inflation standing at 5.5%. From a non-food perspective, we see Upper West recording 11.3% inflation and Northern 10.2% inflation. Given these two rates for food and non-food inflation in both Upper West and Northern Region, it has culminated in these two regions recording the highest rate of overall inflation, with Upper West recording 19.2%, followed by 14.9% for Northern Region, and in third East Ashanti Region and Greater Accra comes forth with 12.3%. From the perspective that Upper West recorded the highest rate of inflation for both food and non-food and overall inflation, we narrow down on the drivers of inflation for Upper West region on a year-on-year basis and also from a food perspective. Keeping in mind that overall inflation for Upper West region stood at 19.2%, within the domains, that is the divisions for computing CPI and rate of inflation, we did identify alcoholic beverages, tobacco and narcotics having the highest rate of inflation of 28.1%, but keeping in mind that it's food and non-alcoholic beverages that has the relatively highest weight of 0.6% and closing up with a rate of inflation of 27.7%.
Abusuafo wei eyaban kuntabufo pani Professor Kwabena Enin government statistician no eno no na inflation sika obi se sika sunsum eno gina ne baabi na emo sika no aba wonsem no na ho odeni ade etimede to wo de toto ho boso no bia no a eno no wabu ho akontade a kire yen no
and na Hisense 2021 Black Friday big sales papa promo no a Hisense de bia ne de ma wo we ne fo na pe 4 days intima na moto every 26 ya November ekopim 30th no na ye de ahyehye so wo to Hisense ade bia ewo mu so wuru mu a hyene so se unya 5 years manufacturer defect warranty enu nti bomoden so beje wo niema ye Hisense promo papa wo mu niema nyina ye papa Hisense de woni tua enne ye nkon agya na ye bua ampa wo de kobobo dem kusisi wo dem uyusu bia wa akasa hu se yu Hisense eniema gina na so kreme ene dumzo ya akaje kumase fo se e be shasi anya de se ebetimi ase Hisense bibia isisu a no fear no bagaya waya bowram yeshowru bia na kwaje wo de so ate Hisense no prakasa na charge drink de ya bobɔ ne saa na pomodin aba ya bomodin ane de ani akyerem ewo promise ba adum bosheba plaza ha ne abaji dudu bia ye hia bosheba no eno prakasa ekoyie keke ububo bi na wuton bi ububo bi na wuton bi sika ba fie anigya ba fie na bibia enye krabehwe ema wo
ye kayo manfo nyina se kel charcoal toothpaste nso wadwa so ye no an ye de twi yesen kane na nanka broni fa paste ma ye no na ye de gebidie e na fei moditri ye brona na ye bete na de bidie na to so de bo asisiri ana fra wo de twi wanum a wo sin po ni fita eno na kel charcoal toothpaste wafa ya wo de aba bo yiyi esen hyehye nka hyehye mpatia ene de ado aye ko enum pampan oga mu sin echi no e manya ho de wo kwan sonko so pebi to ba bia ye tons ye toothpaste Samara Company Limited na kofa de aba Samara wo say happy smile a happy saka ho na che say na from 0246 864 798 and a number obefre wa bra hu adodo classic ointment nso nkuda ekoro pimples apropro kakawire afei ehwa ode epu ampompo ene de keke ka ho nyina kakaja eye nipa bowire obroni fre ni witlo no na dropa ne classic ointment yi hyane nso pe bi to fasie wo yoba akora de wo say ye ho ade na wa wudi siesie ho ebetimi aboa wa kwaniase nyina so Felicia Bako and Sans Wadum, Colina Keba, Missy Eba, Freddy Menseba, Promise Eba, and a pharmaceutical and herba shops in Nemo, Ubenebia Tonkai Boy, Food and Drugs Authority, FDA, and then a stamp so.
Na ye kano and Kania Pani way there, and one bosh about electricas, Ebusia, Ubahana Basha, Uba Bon Semkeke, and then you may be a Boba Hoodwom, the Edebo Demo, Obaran Demo, War, Okete, baby, you have. And a way as I would do in a commercial idea to see will be ceiling fine, a hold standing fine, after socket, a hold adopter, and near money Dawson. You no make a boss about electric assassin. Now the mechanic say, you can't boss about electric asa. So open cania, open wires, Nina be a ceiling light, I would do ceiling fan, standing fan, socket, I would do adopter, and near money Dawson, who truck or tone, and as I was about to turn my furniture here near show come up. Na open ya ye were doom boss about building Abrosanya Mubabia or Oyerepa ye way Paul Sago Lane so ye ho ye ne Sambre Hotel Edian Mshe and a pizza and theatre for 4 dynamo so hona boss about electricals your branch back or your telephone number is 0541 125 339 ofram ye beje osom and na Tahid and naturopathic clinic Madam Catherine for no hey enya gro mesim ye wa kurase pa Madam Catherine for car bar na ye free school nyina na edo machi no mo nyume Madam Catherine dende Madam Catherine dende Madam Catherine den Catherine dende mi mojo dende Madam Catherine yo den oh enyagro na ye ba ye ne usampa zedro no I say yare fitete bisinde ukọ Madam Catherine for no clinic ho a oh say yare ben stroke prostate enlargement anya cancer UTI STD a man mention yare hodo awo ma typhoid diabetes pressure hypertension hepatitis malaria oh wo dey call clinic honum and Madam Catherine na mu so blood tonic enti woba obunsa emmaye wa wonuma to ntimi ne die malaria na ha wo wonya madam Catherine blood tonic bia wo wie wo mo eye clinic so honom enti yare bia wa ni die fako ho wo mo bodi for 0278 626262 Assemblies of God Ghana Women Ministry anya finsie duowotwe hooray na omo ye omo shafan enya ketwa Kumasi ya eye bosume a yewurumi de to so dumienu na eba so anopa na watwe e wo University parade grounds ho a na theme no say revive us again Psalm 85:6 akasa foni Reverend Professor Paul Frempong Manson, General Superintendent, Assemblies of God Ghana, Reverend Dr. Bismarck Kwame Bansa, General Secretary, Assemblies of God, Reverend Dr. Sam Atobentel, General Treasurer, Assemblies of God, Reverend Mrs. Gladys Ebu Baba, National Director, Women Ministry, Reverend Dr. Kwajo Boateng Bempa Holy Family Chapel, one of Assemblies of God, Reverend Aaron Lambon Fant, Assemblies of God Sanctuary of a wind of fire hono so na dey say now so Reverend Mrs. Gladys Frempong on a national advisor Women Ministry no enti dwumade no baso 12 of November ye bibiania ema momfrɛ 0247 88 9090 0247 88 9090 Abusa focus abono aha enebre be makwan na yede mo say Emmanuel Oduro Korea ene di animu aboafo ni nyina ba yenso ekenkan ye eyeme oduefo na na sabere penaman meni menu aba
akuyese edu ana afi
krobia asante nkaibo kakra
wo ho yede etwa mumu na